Hello and welcome to Fresh Faced Comics, the comic book podcast where a lifelong comic book reader guides his friend through the world of comics for the first time. My name is Joey Morgan, the aforementioned lifelong reader. With me as always is Jacob Licklider, the aforementioned newbie.
So, do you think the body swap aspect of this story is taken specifically from 50s sci-fi B movies?
It's Grant Morrison and Paul Dini, so probably.
That's possible. Yeah, we're doing a body swap story.
We are. We've got a technically a continuation of our Grant Morrison Batman reading, a story that's very important to our Grant Morrison Batman reading. The resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. Not strictly by Grant Morrison. It's a crossover event between the titles Batman, Detective Comics, Nightwing, and Robin, all of which were running at the time. We should really get around to doing that again these days. But still, 10 issues, 10 issues we'll be covering today. I know there's technically an epilogue issue as well that's not included in this collected edition. Also, as you can tell, I'm also very sick today. Well, getting over being sick. I'm still not fully there. I'm dying, really. It's fine. We're here.
This story is written by Grant Morrison, Paul Dini, Peter Milligan, Keith Champagne, and Fabian Nicieza. So we have 5 writers.
Indeed. And
split across 4 books and 2 annuals.
Yeah. It's a lot, but it's a good time. I think it's a very good book.
It is a very fun time. I have some interesting thoughts about this one.
I will ask, starting us off with our non-spoiler section as always, Jacob, what is the resurrection of Ra's al Ghul about?
Okay, so in a way, this is we are committing properly to Damian Wayne being a character. Like, he had the future Batman appearance at this point in 666. But this is the first time where it's like, all right, we want Damian to be a character. We have to develop him.
I mean, yeah, so this is really the story that like lets you know like what Damian is all about, actually.
Yeah, and he's one of the better, like he's one of the more consistent, surprisingly more consistent aspects of the story, with 5 writers and a multitude of artists. Like, I'm 7 pencilers, and
it's a lot.
I think 6 or 7 inkers and 4 colorists and 4 letterers. This is a lot. It's one of those big company crossovers, very popular in the 2000s and like the mid 2000s to go through every book. Kind of definitely necessary for whatever the Morrison run is doing next.
Well, you do kind of get a feeling of like you get a sense of like what it's doing next because of the stories we covered last time in the deluxe edition of Batman and Son.
Yes, which decides to jumps the 2 crossover issues, which makes sense.
It's a weird decision. Publishing is weird though. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it's clear that they when they republished Batman and Son, they didn't want to just do, because honestly, the way I might have done it, bind up Batman and Son and Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul.
Exactly. Just do that. Because I know there was originally a Black Glove trade in and of itself, which they then just combined with Batman and Son, but it's like, look, I get it. You just want to put Grant Morrison's name and slap it on the cover, which is understandable. You know, it's Grant Morrison. But like, it's an important story. This one that we're covering today.
I mean, the trade that we're reading from today slaps Morrison and Dini's name on the cover.
Yeah, it totally ignores anyone else involved with the book. It's Grant Morrison and Paul motherfucking Dini, who of course regular listeners to the podcast will know we love with every fiber of our being. Yes. We love Paul Dini.
Yes. This is the first time I'm actually reading a Paul Dini comic, though.
Yeah, he had a very solid run on Detective Comics at the time. That little black and white motif on the covers there is something that like I think was there for like literally every issue that he wrote of Detective.
Well, because I know they've collected like his Detective Comics run in an Omni form, and they used one of the black and white motifs.
I'm pretty sure all the covers for his run were black and white. I have a few singles of it actually, but that's beside the point. Very much beside the point.
There's some interesting things also just to say about this, because obviously, bunch of different writers, bunch of different artists. The issues all the issues are like, and this is what I like is that this is the mid 2000s, so all the issues feel like their respective book, largely because of the art style shifting every issue, basically.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
as you get a new artist, um, which makes for some interesting reading, makes for slightly disjointed visually if you're going together. But I would argue this crossover, in a lot of ways, feels like it's trying to codify the modern Bat family as a concept.
Oh, very much
Um,
so. Yeah, there were a lot of crossovers like this at the time. One of which I have. I can't think of the name of it right now. Fuck. Um, Shit. There's one like towards the very end of the pre New 52 stuff. It was a crossover between Batman, Red Robin, Gotham City Sirens, and Catwoman. I think. Maybe
ah,
not. Maybe not Catwoman. I have all the issues of it. I don't know. It was a cool crossover event. They would do a lot of these things to like really like solidify the fact that like this is like the Bat family was much bigger than just Batman and Detective, which is something that very much got carried over into the New 52. Was early on when they started the New 52 was they had like literal families of books. So you know how like when you get those New 52 trades, they have those little like colors at the top on the
yes.
spines. That's how you separate them by their families. Actually, the gray ones were Batman, blue was Superman, green was Green Lantern, red was Justice League. Fuck, what was it? That or
Purple?
there's like an orange one for like Young Justice and Teen Titans and things like that. There was a dark red one, I think, for like villainous books like Suicide Squad and Deathstroke, and then there was like a gray one for like things that would be like Vertigo and Black Label titles, they like Swamp Thing and Animal Man.
Right.
Or sorry, not gray. Shit, what was it? I can't think of what it was now. What color was it? Fuck. Whatever. Maybe it was gray. Oh yeah, because the Batman one was like a bluish gray, and that was like
Yeah.
pure gray. That's it. Sorry, I don't know. I collected early New 52 hardcore. Anyway, totally beside the point. Let's
But
do some Twitter questions.
yes, yes.
Starting off on Discord from our friend Andrew, friend of the podcast. Bat Morrison questions round 2. Who would win in a fight, Ra's al Ghul or Fancy Dan?
Obviously Raish, but Raish from the end of this, I don't think Mummy Raish is all that great in the fight. There's a
That's
lot of
true.
Mummy Raish.
There is. So maybe Fancy Dan would have a shot there.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think Fancy Dan stands a better chance than you give him credit for. If you could have Grant Morrison reimagine any superhero, who would you choose and why?
Oh, that's
Now,
difficult.
here's also the thing with Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison has written a lot of big famous comic
I was going to
characters.
say, it's hard to get characters that Morrison hasn't written for at least once.
Maybe I'd like to see. I'm trying to think of like characters that Morrison has like
Has
never touched.
Morrison done anything
With who?
with Jason Todd?
Uh, yes, very much so. Yeah, in the Batman and Robin stuff post Battle for the Cowl.
Okay.
Yep,
See, that's what makes it difficult. Morrison
it's
has their
tough. It's tough.
fingers everywhere.
My mind kind of just went to like weird Garth Ennis creations that I kind of would like to see a
Has
weird.
Morrison done a Swamp Thing run?
I don't think a Swamp Thing run, but they have definitely written Swamp Thing before, and they've definitely written Constantine before. Um, I don't
They've
know.
done. Has Morrison done Wonder Woman?
Not a run, but definitely has written the character. Yeah.
Has Morrison done Hulk? Morrison might be interesting to do something with
Ooh,
Hulk.
I don't think so. Actually,
Actually, yeah, maybe Hulk. This is a very
maybe
difficult question because
it is. Yeah, that's tough. That is really tough.
Grant Morrison is far too legendary for their own good.
True,
Uh,
and is rightfully written so much that it kind of makes this question not just difficult to answer because it's hard to think of an option, but like I guess it is. I guess that's literally why, because like it's the options are very slim. Grant Morrison's written a lot of characters, and reimagined a lot of characters in wonderful new ways that we very much associate with those characters these days. So I don't know. That's tough. That's really tough. Gonna gonna deny that question because I don't know. I guess I don't have a proper answer for it. Yeah. Anyway, over to actual Twitter then. We have a little bit of a thread here between our friends Kian at Kian the Quark and Rules Panda at Joey Can Read This. Kian says, "Who's the best Ra's al Ghul and why is it David Warner?" Really, there's no other option. It's David Warner. I do like the guy. I can't think of his name from Arkham City. He's really good. And I do like. Is it from Gotham? Is it Alexander?
Siddig. It's
Siddig,
Alexander Siddig.
Yeah. Alexander Siddig, yeah, he does Ra's in Gotham, and he's fucking awesome in that. Actually, he's really.
You know what? I haven't seen Gotham, but the concept of an Alexander Siddig Ra's al Ghul means like, hey, Mr. Gunn, there's a potential casting that would be fun. Siddig,
yeah, oh yeah,
Alexander Siddig deserves to be in more things.
It's true, and yeah, he's wonderful as Ra's. Gotham just perfectly cast everyone and then used them in really bizarre ways.
Because I think it's one of those things where Gotham had some like, okay, you can't actually use Batman. You can use Bruce Wayne.
It's fucking insane. Like Gotham has so many of my favorite Batman character castings. Like B.D. Wong as Hugo Strange. He's fucking awesome. Cameron Monaghan, of course, is Joker. Everybody loves. What's the name? Corey Michael Smith, Riddler. He's fucking amazing.
I know I've seen at least the first season of Gotham.
It's a fun time. It's a and then fucking Sean Pertwee as Alfred.
Sean Pertwee.
He's right fucking there. And Donal Logue as Harvey Bullock. He's fucking perfect. Just so many great castings.
Yes.
This turned into a weird rant.
The late great David Warner.
Yes.
David Warner's one of my favorite character actors in general. Like Joey and I are both massive Doctor Who fans, and he plays a version of the Doctor in a bunch of the audio dramas that are.
I'm also a big Tron fan, and he's the bad guy in the original Tron.
I need to watch the original Tron.
Watch Tron, and also watch Tron Legacy because I fucking love Tron Legacy. Anyway, David Warner's an amazing actor.
Performance in The Mouth of Madness.
Mm-hmm. He's also really good in the Star Trek movies. He's in 2 Star Trek movies.
I knew that. He's also in I think Taya's favorite Next Gen episode.
Oh, cool! Nice. I have not watched Next Gen yet, obviously. Also, for those of you listening to this that don't know, we record the Star Trek videos way in advance. I've watched some movies already. There you go.
And some animated stuff you have.
It's true. Yeah, things happen. Anyway, and then that thread continues. That's where I was going with this. At Joey Can Read This says, "You took my question," to which Kian replies, "I'm too fast," with a gif of the Flash from the Justice League animated series, which is actually really pertinent because Jacob finished watching the Justice League animated series.
I'm close. I'm really close. I promise.
Mm-hmm. And you haven't even watched the episode that gif is from because it's a great episode. It's the Christmas episode. Anyway, next set of questions. I guess the thread comes from our friend Jamie at Jamie_season7 says, "Would it be improved by Frank Miller doing the art?"
No.
And replying, English Giraffe at English_Giraffe says, "Would it be improved by Frank Miller doing the writing?"
Well, here's the interesting thing about that is that it wouldn't. It would make the Orientalism that's already kind of there, especially in a couple of the supporting. I don't want to say supporting end. There are a couple of characters here who are weird in a way. Yeah. I think it's putting it nicely.
Weird is a word.
And characterized not great. And there's some, again, oddly enough, the Orientalism, the worst of it isn't coming from Morrison this time. And Talia as a character actually gets
she's actually
some
pretty decent
motivation. Yeah. There's still some stuff. There's still the occasional stuff, but it's better than what Morrison had done with her in Batman and Son.
Yeah. It is also worth noting that English Giraffe then says, "Okay, even I can't say this as a joke. I started to think what Ra's would be like under Miller's helm." I mean, yeah.
I mean, we've read Dark Knight Strikes Again.
We have
discussed the racism of Frank Miller in detail. Very fun episode very fun episode to listen to. Not the most fun to record. That was a time.
Yeah. Our next set of questions come from Mason at the GD256. First says, that's a lot of words on the cover. Isn't this meant to be a comic book? Why do I have to read words?
There aren't that many words on the cover. There's
a fair few words. But yeah,
there's
comics,
11 words.
As we all know, comics are strictly a visual medium. You don't actually read comic books; you just look at the pretty pictures. So yeah, Mason's absolutely correct there. His second question says, "I don't know anything about this comic. Give me a 3-word pitch."
Just 3 words, okay.
I think you already exceeded your limit.
The 3 words haven't started yet.
Okay, sure. Oh man,
body swap shenanigans.
Ooh, I like that. I was thinking maybe body swap ninjas.
That works too.
Yeah, there we go. 3. How many Batman would it take to fix my car? My car is a 2001 Honda Accord.
None.
Okay.
Batman cannot fix his own car. That's why he has Harold.
That's true. That's true. But then also I wonder, but I feel like the answer to that question then is infinite Batman, because he can't fix a car to begin with.
Why he has Harold.
But to answer the question is, how many Batman would it take to fix my car?
So both 0 and infinity.
Yeah. We do have one last question then here from the very legitimate Twitter user, Kathy. Kathy at Kathy760183428, responding to Jacob's retweet to remind people about the Q&A, says, yes, that's nice. And you're right, Kathy. It is a very nice comic that we're about to talk about in our full spoiler section. So God damn it. I can't believe I did that. Anyway, here we go.
I hate just the bot problem on Twitter. It wasn't a problem about a year and a half ago. Nearly crazy. As bad.
What was happening on Twitter about a year and a half ago? Oh, that's right. It was called Twitter.
It still is Twitter.
Yeah. But anyway, shall we spoiler it? Let's spoiler it up. As always, as well, we do have a second mini block of DC books coming up soon. So if you want to find out what we're talking about next time on the podcast, skip to the end of the episode. Find out what we're covering next time. It's going to be a fun little 2-episode block that I'm very excited about. So
Joey knows that I've been struggling with guesses.
Yeah, I think this one actually has you kind of stumped. There's not really any indications as to what this one could be. So
no, I don't. I think I have just a random dartboard guess.
Okay. I'll be very curious to see what you think. So otherwise
there's vague logic behind it, but nothing concrete.
I mean, hey, knowing you're very good at this. So you might get something. But otherwise, check out our socials and everything. They'll be linked in the description below, as well as this book that we're covering today and the book we are covering next time. I can speak. I'm sick. I have an excuse. They'll all be linked through Amazon links in the description below as well. I think that about does it. So let's get into our spoiler section. Consider this your official spoiler warning. Here we go. Batman: The Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. Here we go.
With okay, this crossover has not 1, not 2, but 3 preludes.
It's true.
The first, it's 70 pages or so, or no, the first nearly 90 pages of this book is all preludes, and they're not they're not bad. They're oddly enough, they're largely quite good for different reasons. Just some of them are a little unnecessary. Especially so this first one is Batman Annual number 6. This is
I'm really mad. I had a little paper of the actual issues written down in it, and because they don't actually label which issue is in the actual trade. So I had a paper written down and I can't find the paper now, which I'm really mad about, but whatever.
It's okay. It's
All
okay.
right,
I have them written.
I'm relying on you once again. I
Yes,
feel
you're relying
pathetic.
on my notes. This is
Um,
Batman Annual number 6,
yes,
the Resurrection
probably the
Shuffle.
most important prelude here of the first 3 preludes. But yeah, this is really our inciting incident for this whole story. Opening on focusing on look, just a weirdly drawn Talia al Ghul. I didn't even realize
Yeah,
it was her at
I
first.
I so this issue's art is done by David Lopez and Alvaro Lopez. I think it's the only thing they do for the entire book. Um, it kind of looks like it's trying to do Batman the Animated Series in
Sort
a
of,
way,
yeah, yeah.
but they're not Bruce Timm. Like,
No, no.
and it doesn't quite work. So this entire annual is basically here's the history of Ra's al Ghul, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Talia is talking to. Does this character have a name? I know he does.
yeah, this is
This is because this isn't I Ching, right? No, this is, or is
oh,
it?
I thought it was each
Is it meant
each.
to be I Ching?
I am
Again,
not sure.
the art it makes it a little hard to tell. But whatever.
Also, I Ching as a character, what the hell was his point? Like,
Yeah, it's a little confusing. Yeah,
because the I Ching is a Chinese fortune telling device, and this character is just here to be cryptic, like largely like
and also be a literal villain in this first issue.
yeah.
Um,
And, why? What
like
is going?
there's nothing like cryptic about this. Like it's he's just or sorry no sorry he is cryptic, but like it's he's not like I don't know. He has a weird role in this as like a direct sort of like underling to Raish. It's weird.
But
But
also like
meanwhile,
not really. Anyway,
yeah,
yeah, we
um,
the Bruce stuff in this is great because Bruce
it's
is
true. Bruce is becoming aware of Ra's al Ghul shenanigans. Um,
first
uh,
from some ecologists who have gone missing, um, and it's like, well, they were experienced. Where would they go? So Bruce is talking to this ecologist, Miss McMurphy, who isn't going to be particularly important, but it's
it's
sort of
nice. It's a nice little moment. It's
it's
cool.
a nice moment. I like seeing Bruce as a character going to help people out. It's fun. We're in Australia. The point
Um,
is that for a lot of the story, Bruce cannot be in Gotham.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But meanwhile, Talia is recounting to her son. We catch back up with Damian Wayne, a story of Ra's al Ghul and his travels and his history. We get some great flashbacks here, actually, of a much younger Ra's al Ghul before he discovered immortality, which I find really, really interesting. We see him meet and grow close with a woman that will be his wife, and presume. I mean, no, I mean this can't really be Talia's mom or anything.
no,
Um,
not at all, because this is meant to be like the ancient history of race is actually an immortal. Uh,
mhm.
so what's going on? Like race, and like within a year, his teacher dies. He does have his wife, who he's in love with. Uh, they're working, they're kind of scheming together to find immortality, and they eventually
and
discover Lazarus Pit.
mhm.
Uh,
And through all this, Damien's being a little bitch because he thinks the story is boring, and it's you love Damian Wayne being a dick. It's great.
this is the first time Damian Wayne isn't being written by Grant Morrison, um,
Mhm.
and I don't entirely know if Peter Milligan has a full grasp on the character.
I mean, he certainly has a lot more, I think at least, like personality here.
He does. He does.
But
He
maybe
just
it's because Damian did make like such a strong impression initially that people kind of sort of like immediately got their own vision of Damian once Batman and Son was out there.
yeah, and it's very interesting. Also, there's this panel of a haunted-looking Talia with. I don't think the art for this issue really works with what it's going for.
No, no,
No.
it's not great. But whatever. Uh Meanwhile, Batman is doing some more investigating.
Searching, yeah. Bruce investigating is pretty much what his plot is this issue.
Mhm.
Because meanwhile, we see, the once peaceful Ra's al Ghul becoming,
A vicious murderer as he
a-
beheads somebody. And we see him discovering a Lazarus pit for the first time here, which is really great.
he
Just cool to
declares
see that.
himself the demon's head. Uh,
Mhm.
all while Bruce, in the present, Bruce finds his way into a jungle, while it turns out in the past that Ra's al Ghul was at the Battle of Waterloo. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, and, is apparently responsible for getting the Duke of Wellington to fight further and beat Napoleon, which is interesting. I I kind of would take just an entire issue of Ra's al Ghul in historical situations.
Oh yeah, just seeing like how much you could get away with saying like race influenced this. That could be fun. This is also the first I can speak flashback where Race really looks like where the art is going for like more of an animated series type thing. He really looks like the animated series Ra's al Ghul,
Which is
kind of
fairly
cool.
close to the original Neil Adams design for the
Mhm.
character.
But especially in like the really like stark green eyes they go for in this flashback.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Uh,
But meanwhile, Talia is still telling Damien the story. Um, there's a
talking about
reason that
Grace's many
she's.
mistresses. Um,
Mhm. There's a reason that she is telling him this story because Damien must be aware of his grandfather's history because Talia is supposedly preparing Damien for something. But also, Batman is faced with some ninjas on his in his investigations.
for the
Just
first
makes
many times, there's going to be a lot of ninjas. Um, this is a book of a lot of ninjas. Uh,
Yeah, but yeah. Uh, so okay, so this is I Ching here. Have we determined that?
I don't know. That's the problem. Is none of the characters here really look like what they're supposed to look like. It could be the White Ghost,
I
but
see. I don't think it's White Ghost, but I mean, I guess it could be. I guess it could be. Whatever. So yeah, we get some more race backstory while Damien is still being prepared. Um, but part of this ritual that Damien is apparently being prepared for is Talia believes that Damien is going to be faced with the sort of ghost of his grandfather and will have to tell him of his history so he can be fully reborn, when really what is going to happen is Damien is being prepared to accept his grandfather's body and be the new body of Ra's al Ghul behind the scenes. And it's a cool idea, actually. I really like that. I think it's a fun little
yeah.
twist. um
And
oh wait,
this
what?
by the end is definitely White Ghost.
Yep, I just saw that. He does call him White
But
Ghost. How is that White Ghost? What?
yeah, no. Here's the problem: White Ghost doesn't wear glasses because, like,
He doesn't, because I Ching wears glasses,
yeah, like,
which is okay.
and I should say this
Whatever.
trade gives you. It does one of those like mid 2000s things of here are our major players. Like,
Which is actually a very helpful thing to have, especially for random crossover stories like this, where maybe readers aren't aware of every major player in all this. So,
also, again, there are three characters in here: White Ghost, I Ching, and Sensei, who are all they're kind of just tropes. Like,
a little bit, although I do kind of like White Ghost later on in the Nightwing and Robin stuff.
yeah, I mean, I Ching and Sensei especially are the ones that suffer the most from stereotyping.
Oh yeah. Well,
'Cause
especially in like the twist of like who Sensei is,
yeah, it's
because yeah,
it's not great, and
no,
I don't love these decisions. They're dumb. Uh, because yeah, we're doing things with these characters.
but yeah. So White Ghost. Apparently, it's White Ghost. Prepares Talia for this ceremony. She takes Damien, or is going to take Damien. Yeah, it happens now. There we go. Yeah, takes Damien down to where the ceremony is going to take place. And as Damien is brought here, we just kind of jump forward in time. Like we don't see how this event actually goes down at all. Instead, we catch up to Batman finding this place eventually.
After the fact, like because
Sees
the whole
White
idea is
Ghost.
like, yeah, just jump in the Lazarus pit, kid, and meet your grandfather. Yep.
Yeah, this isn't nefarious at all. But yeah, so Batman finds this place afterwards, sees the White Ghost has been knocked down, and is like, "Hey, what the fuck is going on here?" And he finds out, and he knocks White Ghost into the Lazarus pit. It's weird. And then we end the issue of with Bruce and Alfred doing some more reading into Ra's al Ghul, and closing out this tale as we then go into our next one.
This is a small story from Robin Annual number 7.
I do like that already at this point they were including Damien in the Robin Annual.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a great little touch. I like that.
It's fairly obvious he's going to become a Robin, but that could also be just me having hindsight. I actually really enjoyed this one because I think so. This one, this is Keith Champagne writing, and Jason Pearson doing the art.
I love the art in this story.
It is, it's exaggerated.
Perfect for Damien's personality. It's great.
Yeah. This is also one of the few ones that really likes. Damian Wayne's is Asian. Mm-hmm. Like people sometimes forget that.
Yep.
It's nice,
but also people just forget all the time that the Al Ghul family is also Asian as well. Like it's.
I mean, let's be honest, which is kind of telling when we were talking about our favorite portrayal being,
and it's David Warner. Yeah, yeah. But to its credit, it's a voice role in that case. Yeah. Which is why like Alexander Siddig as
Alexander Siddig
is really great, really big score. But also when just your everyday Batman fan kind of thinks of race actors, it's Liam Neeson, and it's like, okay, that's
a white dude.
And they also call him Roz, and that's somehow even more infuriating, to be honest. But I digress. We go on. Damien is where is he? He's in.
He is.
I can't think of where he is.
In a place called Chengchao, which is in China. I really should have looked up if this was a real place or a DC Universe place.
I do not know.
Because it could be either. But this is so. This story is called "The Festival of the Hungry Ghosts," and it's kind of a little fable. Like that's the vibes. That's the vibes I got from the story, and it's
yeah. It starts off really simple. Damien comes across this old man that offers him tea, and Damien's a dick to him, so he feels bad, and then he drinks the tea, and sure enough, the tea causes him to pass out, and he wakes up in this nightmare graveyard place where he's haunted by ghosts that attack him, and
by literal ghosts as well as bats and bugs.
And that eventually turn into other Robins. He's attacked by the 3 Robins at the time, Dick, Jason, and Tim, which is really cool. I really like that.
And this one is like the kid's already dead. But yeah, there are 3 Robins, but interestingly, all 3 Robins fight with a sword. Something that, let's be honest, that's a Damien thing. That's not really
Well, it's how Damien would imagine them, because this is all induced from Damien's imaginings of these people. But yeah, he fights off these ghosts and defeats them, and as they disappear and he goes on his way, we learn that Damien is being stalked by a cloaked figure wearing a green cloak that is
And
looking after
bandaged.
him. And look, it's not a mystery. It's fucking Ra's al Ghul, obviously.
It's Raish. It's Raish.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah,
Surprise! A story called "The Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul" is going to have the resurrection of Ra's al Ghul.
that is a spoiler, my friend, and that is why we save these conversations for the spoiler section, because otherwise people would never guess that.
People would
Um,
never guess that resurrection could happen in a
yeah.
story about
Um,
resurrection. So
we then go on to our third prelude,
our third,
which is weird because this should just be chapter one.
this should
Like,
be chapter one. It's
like
not
this
an
is
annual. This is Batman 670, Lazarus Rising. So this is one of two issues written by Grant Morrison.
with also art by Tony Daniel, who I love. We all love Tony Daniel.
And
He's great.
inks by the wonderful Jonathan Glapion.
Yes. Great team on this issue. Just a really great team.
Yeah.
But here we actually meet I Ching. Man,
and well, he's literally talking about the I Ching, which is just like don't. So the I Ching is this like ancient Chinese fortune telling device involving painted sticks. Don't name your character after this and then introduce them discussing the thing that they are named after. Like,
I am greatly tempted to make a Stephen Moffat "oh so clever" joke, but I really can't with my voice right now. So just imagine I did.
Now that you mention that makes me wonder just the parallels between Grant Morrison and Stephen Moffat as writers, because, like, as a pair of writers, they inhabit an interesting, like, a similar space, but one clearly,
but very different executions.
oh, very different executions, and very varied. Like, both writers have their issues in their writing, obviously. Like, I have genuine, amazing respect for Morrison. Morrison is great. Morrison has penned one of my favorite books that we've done for this podcast, and then the Batman stuff from them that we have read before this, also amazing. I have some respect for Moffat. It's
A little bit.
It's on more rocky ground because Stephen Moffat is Stephen Moffat, and that can get complicated.
Complicated because it's clever.
That's what Moffat's fans, diehard fans, would have you believe. It's not always clever. Sometimes it's just dumb and problematic and a mess. But yeah,
anyway,
so
back to the story.
We have ninja action here.
Ninja action. It's great. We also meet Sensei here early on, who's another trope.
Another trope. Again, another character who doesn't have a fucking name, like Sensei. And like, okay, you can do the wise old mentor figure. You can give them a name, like give them an actual name, and it's like.
But also, speaking of terrible character introductions, Talia's Girl Boss Squad comes in.
This issue is just the issue of terrible character introductions.
Morrison is not off to a great start with this one. We meet Talia in this and her Girl Boss Squad, which, I mean, I think in a weird way, these are the least egregious of the three introductions we just talked about.
They're just a little bit sexist and a little bit male gazy.
A little bit, but also I think
there's at least some fun femme fatale.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's more like almost a tongue-in-cheek kind of like these characters are very much over the top, especially like given their costumes.
I mean, this is 2008. Gail Simone is breaking into comics and has done Women in Refrigerators. we're beginning to actually start to we're in the midst of like peak sexualization and male gaze in comics.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah, and
like,
right before a big push is being made against it, pretty much. Yeah.
and that isn't to say that we are like perfect in the modern day of sexualization. No, that stuff still happens. There's still a long way to go. But I think Morrison is aware of what they're doing. They're also intentionally silly. Like, um, their names are Silken Spider, Dragonfly. What's the third? And Tiger Moth. Tiger Moth.
It's great. They're great names. But yeah, so basically, in their introduction, they are sent by Talia to attack these rich socialites, with the assumption that Batman is going to come in to stop them, which he does. He fights back against them. We have some fun interactions there, actually. And while this is happening, Talia is visited by her mummified, resurrected father. So I'm like, did the ceremony work?
So I
Or
feel
was like, okay, like, what are
okay.
the logistics of this? Like,
So
did this version already exist, and this guy, this mummified Raish, was going to transfer his consciousness into Damien? Is that how it was going to be?
So I don't want to like make Doctor Who references, but we do know that Grant Morrison is a Doctor Who fan.
And do you think we got like kind of like a master thing going on
Peter
here?
Pratt, Jeffrey Deaver's master.
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah.
happening. That I'm like 90% sure that's what's being sent up, at least by Morrison.
So what you're saying is we should be reading Damian Wayne with the voice of Anthony Ainley.
Hang on, you're breaking my brain. Hang on. Oh God, no, that's. I mean,
go back and read Batman 666 right now.
No, because it's not like survival. It's not going to be survival Legopolis Anthony Ainley. It's going to be that it's going to be over the top.
It's Tremas Anthony Ainley. I mean,
yeah.
that's
So
great.
that's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, either that or
man,
Eric Roberts.
Too many Doctor Who references. Get it away. Bad. No, bad for this podcast. Get it away. Talia is visited by her mummy father, and Damien is there, and it's his grandfather. I know how to words. Damien arrives in his
Robin costume.
In the Robin, yeah. Where did he get that from?
I have that in my notes actually, and I'm like,
it's weird.
And it's like no explanation. But
yeah, he's just kind of there in the Ninja Robin costume. It's weird.
I mean, I like it. It's a cool costume.
It's a very good costume. Yeah. But it makes the cover. But yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So Damien is here as well, and Raish is obviously still trying to steal his body. Meanwhile, Batman is talking to I Ching,
who is cryptic.
Yep.
And yeah, it's not great. But there's more action
yes, because Raish is still trying to steal Damien's body, and
because this is a decaying body.
Yes, and Damien is not about this, and in the words of another character, only hate keeps him alive. And so Damien lashes out against Raish's guards.
And Damien gets to make some of his earliest decisions for himself, and he, escapes through the window.
Also, by the way, there are some fucking bloody panels here as Damien demolishes these ninja guys. It's violent. But yeah, Damien makes a break for it. He runs through the window, and this brings us into what is apparently chapter 1 of the book. It's weird.
And we are how many issues in? 3 issues in.
3 issues in, yeah. So this is Robin.
90
this is Robin something.
168.
There we go, Robin 168.
I will say, one of the most confusing things about me numbering these is that every book, bar the main Bat book, ended with 8 or 9.
That is weird. Yeah.
Like it just happens because it's Robin 168, Nightwing 138, Detective Comics 838.
What is
I'm like, okay, where are we at? This is why, I mean, I mean, this trade has been out for a while because I know you can get it with the old DC Star
I
logo.
think that's what I have actually. Yeah, that's what
I
I have.
My copy has the 20. I
The
want to say
2016 one?
no, the 20, not the one I think it's the
Oh,
2012.
the new 52-ish one.
Yeah, the blue one with
Yeah,
like the
with
D peeling back
where
for the
the
C.
like peeled. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
It's a weird logo. I don't know.
yeah.
Um,
Because obviously this book
honestly,
went
like
through.
I don't really like any DC logo that isn't just D and C in a giant circle. That's just me.
I mean,
It's weird.
the two best DC logos in my mind. The best one is probably the bullet that was,
I
there
do.
for
Yeah, that's good. You know
like,
with the stars around it, or
yeah.
yeah, that one. Okay, that's great. And I do love the current one.
And the
The current,
current one, they're
the
the
current
two
was
best ones.
amazing. Yeah. So,
Um, yeah, but yeah,
but anyway,
this is chapter one.
chapter one apparently.
A
You know,
boy,
picking up exactly where the prologue leaves off. Fucking what?
a
Anyway,
boy for the demon. Yeah, so um, we get one page of Mummy Race, basically recapping what's happened.
but importantly, Tim is here in
Oh,
Gotham with
poor
Alfred.
baby Tim Drake. Oh my gosh,
Look at him.
Tim is going through it.
It's
Like
true.
his narration is over the top edge
Oh
melodrama.
yeah.
And it's
I
just
mean, he has
like
a lot going on right now. He's dealing with Damien, and it's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
he is dealing. Okay, here's the thing. He's dealing with a lot of things. His parents have only died recently. Um, his girlfriend has died recently. His boyfriend has died recently. And now Jason is back at some point recently. And now Damien. And Bruce has left this child alone with Alfred. And Alfred is basically telling him, like, get
Wait,
some
I
rest,
just caught that. Who are you implying was his boyfriend?
Connor Kent.
Oh yes. Okay, naturally.
I'm pretty sure Connor had just died. It gets dropped later on.
Yeah.
Like,
They mentioned Connor.
oh my
I'd
god.
forgotten about that. Yeah. But yeah, so now Tim is gonna get another visit from Damien because Damien is sneaking into the Batcave and getting attacked by bats.
Through the tunnels.
Obviously.
And it's like, yes, Damien, you're making the right decisions. You're making the smart decisions.
For
You're still an
once,
edgy little
Tim
shit.
Drake is the one completely in the wrong here. Because the second he sees Damien's like actually pleading with him. He's like, "Hey, we're in some trouble. We really need some help." And Tim is like, "Haha, another fucking deception. I see, you little bitch." And so
And
Tim
you
just.
know what?
I mean, here's the
Defend
thing. I
Tim.
do not blame Tim. He has every reason to not trust this little shit. But also, I feel really bad because this is the most like Damien is just a kid I've ever felt about Damien right now.
Oh yeah, because Damien's like going to steal. Look, this is going to sound ridiculous, but my grandfather wants to steal my body.
Yeah, and he's really trying, and Tim just immediately fights him. It's a lot. But meanwhile, Raish has a pirate ship that he's keeping Talia on. What a vibe!
I don't
What a
remember
vibe!
this coming. I think this set piece gets dropped fairly quickly.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but
However, I do think the vibe works of Rachel Ghul having a
it's
pirate ship.
it's a vibe. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think every Batman villain should have a pirate ship themed around their whole gimmick.
Joker pirate ship.
Imagine the Riddler pirate ship.
I feel like the Riddler pirate ship would sink because of some dumb riddle going wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, so we see Sensei again, and then also Merlin joins the story.
Yeah,
So
Merlin is just kind of here.
here's the thing, I had a weird experience with this last time we recorded because I had read most of this story, reread it most of it by the time we recorded the last episode. So like Merlin appeared like once in that last book, and I was like, oh wait, isn't he out throughout this like a bunch more? But I think I was misremembering a lot of like the events of this being in that, and it's just everything was blending together for me. It was a weird experience. But
Yeah.
whatever. Meanwhile, Damien and Tim are fighting throughout Wayne Manor. Damien goes to talk to Alfred and reason with Alfred, and Alfred actually believes him, which
Well,
is a
because
nice little
again,
moment.
in my notes, I have Alfred is the only member of the Bat family with any sort of sense. Like,
Yeah, pretty
Alfred's the
much.
one who's like, all right, you're scared. You are like in this moment, Alfred just sees the latest in a long line in his life of scared children. Like,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like,
yeah. That's a great point. Yeah.
Alfred knows exactly what to do, and it
Mhm.
helps that Damien in this last panel is just drawn so sympathetically.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
it's so good. But then back to pirate ship aesthetic because Talia is about to be killed, presumably. Or no, actually, no, sorry, she's just being taunted, I guess, by the ninjas. But Batman swoops in, fights the ninjas, frees Talia. There's some flirting between them a little bit,
some
and
very actually fairly well written flirting. To
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah. Honestly, Talia is not bad in this because she's not being written by Grant Morrison, and I hate to say that because I love Grant Morrison. We've expressed this many a time throughout the podcast. Just they can't write Talia for some reason. It's weird. It's really
Yeah,
weird.
it's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's a special? It's another oh shit. It's like Bruce, go back to Gotham. Our son is in danger. And it's like okay, how long ago did Ra's leave? Um, and then back to Wayne Manor.
Oh, and I hate this moment. Alfred trips on a fucking carpet, and Damien goes to lift him up, and Tim sees this at the exact wrong moment and thinks that Damien is attacking Alfred. Miserable,
It's
miserable moment.
melodramatic stuff.
And Tim attacks Damien, and Alfred rightfully verbally bitch slaps Tim. And
I mean, Alfred just straight up is like, Tim, you're supposed to be the smart one here.
yeah,
Like,
but also Tim's on edge recently. Like I don't think any of it's out of character,
no, it's
which is
not.
important.
Tim is allowed to be edgy. Everybody in his life is either dying or having a secret son that he didn't know about.
Yeah, 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 and yeah. I think I forget. Did you mention in your list of trauma for Tim? Like Jason has recently come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Like
it's a very recent thing at this time. It's weird.
it's it's
Yeah,
weird. It's so much has happened. Tim Drake needs a break, um, and probably some therapy. Yeah, of course the boys end up fighting.
and none of them are realizing that the house is being surrounded by ninjas, and as they converge on the house, that is where the issue ends, taking us into chapter 2, which is an issue of Nightwing.
Yeah,
Let me
this is
speak. Nightwing. There,
Nightwing,
I can't say Nightwing like this. Nightwing. There we go.
the Dick
I hate
Grayson
being
book
sick.
where he's not Robin.
Yeah.
This is issue
Anyway,
138.
goddamn, what a horny cover. I love it.
I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
it's a Nightwing book. It should be horny, but yeah, it's fine. Anyway, so yeah, getting into this, catching us up a bit on what Dick Grayson has been up to recently.
my first note on this is Dick Grayson gets noir narration.
He does. It's great.
Yeah, so Dick has been tracking a slave ring,
Mhm.
and things that I'm guessing have just been happening in the Nightwing book.
Yeah, probably. I never read it. I do not know. I haven't read this book at least.
Yes. And it's like, well, I need to pause because my family's in trouble. So he has a Justice League teleporter.
I love this bit where he's like, don't worry, I'll be there because Bruce contacts him and he's like, hey, go help them. He's like, I'll do an override on the Justice League teleporter. And Dick's like, don't worry, I got it, I know the code. And Bruce is like, what the fuck? And Dick's like, we'll talk about it later. Don't worry, we'll be fine. And so he gets there. He gets to Wayne Manor.
And
Via
they never have
Justice
a
League
chance to
teleporter.
talk about it.
No. Unless it comes up in the epilogue. Now I really want to read the epilogue, actually.
Oh, I doubt that it comes up in the epilogue.
It would be really great if it did, though. But anyway, Nightwing is immediately met by Talia's girl boss squad, Tiger Moth, Dragonfly, Silk and Spider. Meanwhile, the ninjas are also converging on the house. Nightwing runs inside as he drops these like smoke pellets in front of the girl boss squad. Nightwing saves Alfred as the ninjas start coming after him. And also, we're catching up with Bruce and Talia in the middle of all this, who are in Tibet, going to presumably where Raish is.
Yes, they're trying to find Nanda Parbat.
Yes. And also, what is this scene in Singapore here?
I think this is
I truly forgot this scene even happened.
I think this is like trying to continue the plot of what the Nightwing book was doing before this crossover interrupted it. That's my guess, because it doesn't. It's this one. It's a really fucking heavy page. Like
it is. Yeah, there's a pregnant woman that is being threatened,
tortured
with blades, and it's okay. Yeah, I'm guessing it's a Nightwing thing. I had not even considered that. That's weird. Wow. Anyway, to the Himalayan mountains, we catch back up with Merlin, who's still working for Talia at this point, I believe.
Where's Merlin's plot is just kind of a thing.
He'll be there at the end.
There's a reason I have some problems with this book, and I can't rank, like, I kind of have to rank it low on what we've done so far this year.
I mean, this year we've done a lot of really great books.
Yeah, it tells more just to the banger after banger after banger quality that we have had this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this isn't bad, but this has some stuff where it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, honestly, if I were in charge of this crossover, I'd tighten some of these things up, get rid of some of these subplots.
But I think also because it wants to be a big.
Actually, what I would do is about 5 or 6 years down the line, I would take this and adapt it into a movie as a follow-up to Son of Batman.
Oh, wow. That would be a great idea. Certainly better than, I don't know, maybe trying to adapt a completely random story as a sequel to Son of Batman. Something that had nothing to do with the Bruce and Damian Wayne dynamic. Yeah, that'd be a really great idea now that you mention it. Huh.
A story that should be focused on the Bruce Dick dynamic?
Point being, we technically did some adapted material for this episode, so be sure to stick around for that. But meanwhile, back in the comic, we catch back up with Raish, who is not beating the Peter Pratt master allegations. He is looking crispy.
I did write Zombievers in my notes.
Zombievers, nice. Yeah. That's great.
You've never heard.
I don't think I've ever heard him referred to as Zombievers.
Oh, I must have referred to him as that at some point.
I do not believe you. I've never heard that.
Yes. Anyway. Also, Alfred gets to be a badass, which
he does. He has a weapon. What is he holding? He has a stick. Oh, he has one of Nightwing's Suprema sticks. Okay, that's awesome. I love that. But yeah, Dick goes and sees Damian and Tim fighting off some ninjas as well in the Batcave. And they fight off some ninjas together.
There's this one moment in the narration from Dick that is, notice Damian's costume, note to self, smack a clue into the kid.
Yeah, I do love that. That's great. But yeah, as they are fighting off these ninjas, there is the Talia Girl Boss squad enters the Batcave. We gotta come up with a better name for those guys. They enter the Batcave as well. Also, like, isn't there at some point some narration for Dick here? It's like, man, everybody knows where this cave is. We really gotta worry about this whole secret identity thing later. Like, damn. Like, it kind of makes sense for the League of Assassins to know about it, but like Talia's random women for hire, like.
Well, Talia did apparently send them to Wayne Manor.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's a weird moment. But anyway, in fighting them off, Dick is not able to stop Tim and Damian from being taken by the ninjas, and Dick instead decides as the ninjas attack the girl boss squad with poison, Dick chooses to save them and allowing the ninjas to steal Tim and Damian. And as he saves the women, that is where the issue ends.
Can
taking
I
us
just say,
into.
I should say this. I love Dick's costume in this. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's, it's
the early 2000s Nightwing costume was pretty great.
it's great. I don't know. I love how quippy Dick is. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
really fun. This feels like a Dick Grayson who has his shit together.
Oh
Um,
totally, yeah.
yeah, and it's great. Like, very fun issue. Very fun plot. Um, kind
But yeah,
Yeah,
that
kind of
brings
a
us
shame that we only
to.
get 2 issues of it because Dick Grayson is a highlight of this book. Anyway,
It's true. But onto the Detective Comics issue, first one. Wait,
838 by Paul
yeah.
Dini.
Oh man, Paul motherfucking Dini. We love him. Is this also Tony Daniel on the art here?
No, it
Or oh
is
no,
not. It
this is
is
Ryan Benjamin. Yes.
Ryan Benjamin and Salim Crawford. Uh,
Yes.
also, I'm going to
Also,
say
we're gonna read
this is
the
slightly
variant.
annoying about
Oh.
the way this is presented. The colorists and letterers aren't credited on the covers in this trade, which is
I mean, that's okay. I mean, they're still credited in the book, but
yeah, they're credited at the top of the book, but I'd like to
yeah,
know
but
in
but
your
on the individual issues, yeah.
yeah, because
Um,
so it's one of those things where it's like if there's an especially effective use of color or use of lettering, I like to be
yeah,
able to
yeah.
praise the right person.
Also, check out
See
this.
our fresh face one shots for me, more of me doing that.
Check out this uh variant cover included here by Andy Kubert.
Oh yes, yes.
Love that.
I love I love all the variants this book has. Honestly, they're
Mhm.
all
Yeah. Oh, there's
fantastic.
some really great ones. Yeah.
I think my
Um.
favorite might actually be the Kubert one. For I think it's
Uh.
Robin 139.
Oh. Let's find out. Uh. Oh, the one with Raish behind him.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that one's great. I love that one.
yeah. Again, problem with not numbering these issues. DC.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, picking up a little after where we left off, Tim and Damien are being presented to Rachel Ghul. Or sorry, oh no, sorry, who is this? Sensei? Or
Or
who's sitting there? Is that Raish? No, it's Raish.
it's Raish.
The
There's
art
some
different the art
inconsistencies.
differences really make some of these really hard to tell.
Yeah. Oh, especially for Raish, who's a character who's decaying. Like,
Yeah. So like just yeah, at the various stages of decay, like it's really hard to tell
and it's not
who's
linear
who.
decay either. Like,
No, oh yeah,
it
he
is.
changes like honestly, like he looks better here than he did in the past couple issues. It's
Yes.
weird.
Which is funny because in this issue, he's about to get a boost type thing
Mm, yeah,
at some point fairly soon. Because this is one of those things. I really like Tim and Damien still being able to work as a team.
yeah. Despite
Not yeah,
their differences.
despite the fact that they want to murder each other. And Tim tries to be quippy. And because this is an issue of Robin, or no,
This is detective.
this is detective. This is detective. We get some very interesting Tim Raish interactions here
Mm-hmm.
that are fascinating. Like first, Raish, brings out the pretty women to tend to Tim's wounds, and Tim is trying to be sarcastic.
Ooh, I just muted myself, but I had a really terrible cough just now.
Oh no!
Holy shit, that was awful.
And
Oh wow.
here's where we get some of Raish's intelligence. Raish,
Yeah, because we're playing into the fact that Tim has experienced a lot of loss recently.
he gets this entire monologue of, "I can reunite you with your parents, Timothy. You're clearly in need of a strong mentor, someone who can be a benefactor and a powerful friend to you. Luckily, you don't have to look any further for one." And then he refers to Bruce as he already thinks more of Damien than he does you. It won't be long
Which,
before
first off, is absolute bullshit. Bruce hates this kid.
yeah, Bruce.
Like,
Bruce is I wouldn't say Bruce hates this kid. Bruce doesn't know what he thinks about this
Yeah,
child.
yeah. I mean, hell, I mean, as far as Bruce is concerned, he actually doesn't know that Damien's alive right now.
No,
Because
well, he does. He knows from Talia that Damien's alive.
Oh wait, that's right. Yeah, Talia has told him.
But he didn't know that Damien was alive until like
a few hours ago.
a couple being generous 24 hours at most.
Yeah.
Everyone's been having a rough day.
Yeah.
And then, like, Raish sticks the knife in. Like, history has shown that he will leave you in the cold. I'm sure you've heard as much from Jason Todd. Again, a character who, until only a couple months ago, Bruce thought was fucking dead.
Yeah. There's a common theme here. But meanwhile, speaking of actually Bruce and Talia, they're still on their way trying to find Nanda Parbat. They come across some ninjas and I Ching, who still is serving no purpose.
Just there, like
he's just there. Yeah. But meanwhile, we cut over kind of randomly to Arkham Asylum to show that Talia's girl boss squad has been taken here because they're not doing the greatest right now. And
this also, I will say, this also kind of feels like Paul Dini trying to set something up for himself.
For a detective, yeah, very possible. Yeah.
Especially with this doctor character, who just that is a Paul Dini villain if I ever did see one.
Yeah. But also, Alfred and Dick then decide to go on their own journey to go save Tim and Damien, and they're stopped by the one and only Ubu, who's great to see here. Ubu is here, which is nice. I like Ubu. He brings some of Raish's ninjas with him. There's a great fight sequence between Dick and a couple of them.
He captures Alfred, and Alfred can save himself because this is Alfred Pennyworth we're talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. He kicks Ubu's ass. That's great. Or I guess rather the opposite of Ubu's ass. And Alfred and Dick go on their way.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Bruce and Talia still on their way to Nanda Parbat
and trying to find Raish, and they do. And we have the great first Bruce Raish confrontation, clearly sending up the Denny O'Neil Neil Adams sword fight.
Definitely.
Very famous sword fight. Turns out, surprise! Raish is falling apart.
Yep. So if Bruce stabs him, then it's not really going to do anything. He's not really alive right now. So Raish is still left standing. And in closing out this issue, Raish gives Bruce a choice, which of his boys he wishes to live and which to die, because Raish will still take one of their bodies anyway. There's a choice between Tim and Damien. That closes out our issue, taking us into the...
Before I move on, I do have a theory, right? I feel like Dini knew this had to be the cliffhanger, because there's some of these scenes, I Ching feels like a character who's just there for padding, like just padding out the runtime so we can have you to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
When honestly, it probably wasn't needed because you've already got so much stuff going on with Tim and Damien and Raish and just everything else that makes it interesting.
But anyway, on to the last Grant Morrison contribution to this story. Batman
671.
671, that's it. Tony Daniel back on pencils, which is awesome. Also here with Sensei again, who's now with Merlin.
Yeah, well, was with Merlin before.
Oh, that's right. Sensei was drawn really weird last time we saw with Merlin.
This is the problem. It's like, okay. It's like, time nor death can come to Nanda Parbat, so what's going on? Like, it feels like padding, honestly. Like,
yeah. But
a lot of this story feels padded in some weird ways. Because
But
we just had that Wham cliffhanger. We want it resolved.
And so we do. We cut back after a few pages to Raish's stronghold, where once again Tim and Damien laid out in front of Bruce, Talia, Raish, and of course everyone's favorite I Ching, the most iconic character from this.
And Bruce, of course, wants the third option. Neither of them. It's like you just need to restore your body, so you could go to Nanda Parbat and try to find the Fountain of Life.
Yep. And so
I will help you.
Yeah, Bruce promises to help him get there. And so Bruce and Raish are now traveling together, making their way up this mountain, fighting some ninjas along the way. Or I guess monks, I guess would be a more apt term in this
Monk
case.
ninjas.
Monk ninjas. Classic. But yeah, throughout this fight, Merlin is also leading the charge against them, because these are, of course, Sensei's men that they are coming up against. Does Sensei have an actual name by the end? I forget.
I don't remember.
I don't think he does.
I mean, because this is the issue where we get the reveal of who Sensei actually is.
Yeah, which we're coming up on, I think right now, actually.
Right now.
Because Batman and Raish come face to face with Sensei, standing in front of the Fountain of Life.
And surprise, Sensei is Raish's dad.
Yeah, and he stabs Raish because I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I don't blame him. Raish is kind of a fuck up. Yeah, Sensei's Raish's dad, which is kind of the opposite, I think, of how the twist usually goes. I feel like the common twist. I'm thinking at least of Batman the Animated Series here. Remember that one episode where they do the twist where Raish is actually looking after his elderly son.
Yeah,
which I think is really cool. But yeah, kind of the opposite of that. We have the Sensei is Raish's father, and so Raish is now dying even more than he was before.
He got stabbed again.
Yeah,
and Bruce is blinded.
Yeah, and then also like Bruce is like willing to fight for Raish here, which I think is a bit of a weird decision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but he fights Sensei for Raish.
I think the idea is Morrison clearly being like, the no kill rule. There is a moment where the glass eye, where it looks like the glass eyes, like the glass white eyes of Batman's cowl, get broken.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And so we get this great fight actually between
great eye panels.
Oh yeah. And yeah, we get a great fight between Batman and Sensei here, leading up to this moment where they get tossed, or where Batman tosses Sensei into the Fountain of Life, which burns Sensei.
Then one of the monks touches Raish, and a new body at last.
New body at last. Yeah, Raish is the monk now, and Batman gets up from the Fountain of Life and screams at him, and that is where the issue ends.
Yes, it's some problems with this back half of this story, just because it starts to spread itself kind of thin.
See, I would say that. I think it's only really the Batman stuff that falls apart. I think the Tim and Dick stuff is really good.
The Tim and Dick stuff is fantastic. It's contradictory because the Tim and Dick stuff is probably some of my favorite stuff in this book. And
it's the B plot. Like, it's not even really like what you should be focusing on.
But I'm glad that we are, because these characters need it. Like, they need it. Because that transitions nicely into Robin number 169.
Yes. And so picking up with White Ghost here, who is now looking after Tim and Damien, and Talia, I guess, because Talia is here too. I guess you really didn't go with Bruce or Raish. Okay. Anyway,
Lego's like, well, Raish said Tim can live, but fuck it, I'm gonna kill him anyway.
It's a weird decision. Yeah. Tim, Damien, and Talia then fight off these ninjas themselves. Get a great big fight sequence that opens up the issue here. Actually, goes on for a lot of the issue. Actually,
yeah,
like a lot of it. I forgot how long. Now flipping through it again.
Damien goes to find White Ghost. Talia tries to follow him, but is captured. Tim and I Ching
I Ching
also
is here
here.
too. I feel like that's gonna be like that's like the tagline of this whole thing. It's just like I Ching is here too. Believe it or not, he's here. But yeah,
I Ching is
I don't know
there
why he's here.
to
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know.
he
It's
keeps
weird.
the name occupied so Tim can run, which like okay.
But then Talia is there as well. Talia like begins guiding Tim through this like tunnel. And and I guess as they're making their way through this, we then cut over to Nanda Parbat, where we okay. So this always really confused me about this story. Actually, okay, so this does not pick up with the cliffhanger from last time, where Bruce knows that Raish has a new body. Instead, that cliffhanger gets picked up on in the detective issue that ends the story. So, what is Bruce doing with Merlin here? When does this happen?
Yes. That I again.
Because, like, okay, wait. So, am I wrong about that, or
No, you're not. That's the problem. It's not
oh, wait, because it
clear.
does sort of follow on the cliffhanger that yeah, like Raish is in this new body.
Body and the body's already starting to decay.
Yeah, so we follow up on that. But then also, if I remember rightly, when you open up the first page of the detective issue that ends the story, it's literally the Raish taking the monk's body again, isn't it? Or am I just
Yeah.
totally wrong about that?
Well, no, it's Raish trying to take Damien's body.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
I didn't
we
really
do this.
read
Here's
that
the
long ago,
problem
did I?
is this story does the same cliffhanger twice,
That might be it.
just with different people, and
Yeah, that's probably the thing that's messing me up here.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, you're right. I'm okay. Anyway, back to Tim though. Tim meets up with White Ghost here, who first off punches Tim. But yeah, White Ghost takes
Because Tim
Tim
wants to Tim wants to reconsider Race's offer.
and White Ghost takes Tim to a Lazarus pit, where Tim is very tempted by it. And again, it could be one of those moments that could be seen as like out of character, but I think it really works
Well, no,
given the
I mean
context of where Tim is at right now.
we've already established that Tim Drake is a mess right now. Is in a
Mhm.
special mess, and he's not thinking straight. And Bruce is not there. The only person he knows well, as close to well, there are Damien and Talia and someone who wants to kill him.
Yeah,
So he doesn't have the right influence. And then I Ching is here
he's here.
to
He's here.
try. I am trying to figure out if like there
Well,
was supposed to be
he just
twist.
sort of acts as like this middleman between
He,
Dick and Tim here, because where the issue ends then is Dick shows up and is like, "Hey Tim, stop," and and so then we go into the Nightwing issue. What number is it?
139.
139. That's it.
Because the whole idea is like, if I go into the pit, I can bring back my entire family and everybody I love. And it's like, well, and I Ching's like, I will stop you. It's like, no, move aside. I'm going to do it. Okay, I won't stop you. And then Dick is here, and it's like, what? Maybe it was I Ching supposed to be revealed to be like, I don't know, maybe like Tim's dad, but
I doubt it.
survived or something.
I doubt it.
I'm trying to figure out what
I just don't think anyone knew what they wanted to do with the character, and it's exactly what it seems like.
yeah, I want to know who created this character, because like, what do you do with a character like this who just doesn't? Oh, and I'm doing a quick Google search, and this character is actually a character created by Denny O'Neil.
Really?
Yeah, so this is
In what?
um Wonder Woman 179.
What? What year?
1968.
What?
So okay, that
There's no
explains
way.
No, it's the same.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Character created. He's apparently the living embodiment of yin and yang, which okay, that now makes sense.
But also, he still has serves no actual purpose in this story.
He's apparently part of the Justice League of China.
Oh,
Yeah.
huh.
So
Well,
okay,
you know what? Good for him.
good for him. I'm that doesn't make this work.
I
But at
mean,
least
the only thing he really adds to this scene here is that there's this whole bit. So most of this issue is Tim and Dick fighting um over Tim's decision to take the offer of the Lazarus Pit and Ra's al Ghul. And I Ching is here pretty much the whole time being like, okay, I understand both sides. Now figure it out for yourself. And
so
it's a weird role to play, but like that's all he does really.
so from my quick Google searches, what I think is happening. So this is like fair. This is what only a year or two after Infinite Crisis,
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
and Infinite Crisis brought back a bunch of like pre-crisis characters into the fold. Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
And I Ching is one of those.
Nice.
Just a quick look on the DC wiki. It seems was brought back for the Wonder Woman run by Alan Heinberg
Huh.
time.
All right then.
So I think it's just we're trying to reintroduce some pre-crisis characters, but we don't know what to do with these pre-crisis characters.
That's kind of
Uh,
the problem, isn't it? It's like if you
yeah, it's
don't have
like
an actual fucking reason to have them here, it's like why even bring them back? Um, but anyway, meanwhile, Damien is catching up with White Ghost, who is, I guess, going to meet with Raish. So the
yeah.
yes,
Well,
so
Tim and Dick are having their cathartic fight, and
yeah, so Damien sneaks on board this helicopter that is going to meet with Raish. Um, Meanwhile, then Talia actually joins the the scuffle between Tim and Dick. Or no, actually no, she just happens to be there at the same time. No, she doesn't actually join. Okay, never mind. Fuck me. Whatever.
uh,
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it's there's yeah, it's a great. It honestly, I know I keep saying it like it doesn't mean anything, but I really do love this whole sequence between Dick and Tim.
it's great. Well, Dick's dialogue here of Tim, listen, think logically for a minute. The pit can't resurrect someone out of thin air. It requires organic matter, physical bodies to rejuvenate. And even then, the people you've lost, your dad, spoiler, Connor, don't mean to be crass, but they've been dead too long. Their bodies they've just decayed too much, Tim. I'm sorry. And
Great. Oh, it's such a great moment.
And Tim is very much like, hang on, we're dealing with basically magic. Like, we can throw science out the window. And it's like, it's grief. This is Tim Drake dealing with grief really well. And it builds to this moment of where the fight stops. It's like, in a world where Jason Todd can come back, then why can't my dad?
Mm,
And the
yeah,
rebuttal is, okay, where does it stop? It's like,
yeah.
what about your mom?
It creates a sort of like exact opposite of the old slippery slope argument of Batman comics that it's just like if you kill one person and you break that rule, how many more do you have to like keep justifying? Kind of the exact opposite of that. I really love that. It's really cool. It's a great idea. Yeah, it's fun. So anyway, this all ends thankfully in Tim sort of being like Tim and Dick being forced to like secede the argument because Ichin comes in and kicks both their asses and says,
Because balance.
"Yeah, balance." That's his role because
But
they
I,
wouldn't be
I
able
will
to
say I love this sequence of Tim taking these vials, dipping them in the Lazarus pit.
and
And
seeing spoiler his dad and Connor in them.
yeah, it's just like, oh,
Like,
that hits
yeah,
really hard. And then he
great
pours them
moment.
out.
And then
And
Dick just hugs him. Then it's a
yeah,
great moment. Yeah, just probably the best moment of the whole comic. I love it.
first time I think we've really seen Tim with his mask off.
Well, we saw him early on in the first Robin issue when he was
Yeah.
in Wayne Manor alone, but that was about it.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
even then he was still in costume. Like he was this is the first time where, oh right, there's one panel where he wasn't in costume. And
yeah,
then he drops it down. And then they're like, okay, well, the smart thing is Tim put a tracer on Damien so they can go and find Damien.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Talia's
And
coming.
so Tali's coming with. Yeah, she's joining them, and so is Alfred. Everyone's here. Everyone's here. Everyone's going to Nanda Parbat because now that Damien is here, and they haven't really caught us up on exactly what got us to this moment. But now that Damien's here, and White Ghost and the other ninjas, Raish is now stealing Damien's body as well.
Yeah,
Or
because the
stealing the
monk's
life
body was.
force.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's doing life force.
So now the monk body has shifted to look like Raish, actually, with his hairstyle and everything.
So you know how I often talk about comics being soap operas?
Yes, you
That's what
do.
this is.
I think
That's what this
literally
is.
since the first episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm nothing if not consistent.
It's true. It's true.
This is pure soap opera of we need the recognizable iconography for the ending of a cliffhanger. So
yeah.
here's Raish, but we also want to make sure people can read that okay, there was a monk there. It feels like we missed something because we knew Damien got captured.
Oh yeah, we knew he was going to Nanda Parbat, but
Yeah.
we missed the entire moment of him getting there with White Ghost and finding Raish, and Raish getting to the point where he wants to steal Damien's body again. It's a weird moment.
And I mean, I would not want to sacrifice any of this of what these last two issues have just done.
Yeah, because the Tim Dick stuff is way too good. But I would like to at least see just a little bit, if nothing else, like maybe the next issue could have opened with catching us up on how we got here, but instead it's literally the last issue here of Detective opens with the exact same panel, just actually drawn way better because it's Tony Daniel. But
no, it's Ryan Benjamin.
Shit, you're right.
Tony Daniel only does the two.
He only does the Morrison issues. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Ryan. It's Ryan Benjamin and Don Kramer on pencils, Salim Crawford and Wayne Foucher on inks. Because there is an art style shift near the end. That's fairly obvious.
What is the final issue number here?
839.
839. Thank you. I really got to find that paper. I guess it's useless now, but still. It is entirely useless now.
You can always slip in your copy of the trade, so when you read it, you can be aware of what you're actually reading.
Yeah, all those times that I go back to reread The Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah,
so Bruce gets his best moment. Let go of my son.
Yup. How could look? I know publishing comics is hard, guys. I know putting together collected editions, comprehensive collected editions, can be difficult at times, but I feel like it's not that difficult to put one of the most pivotal moments in the early Bruce Damien dynamic
in the omnibus.
Yeah, in the Omni, or just any collection of the early Bruce Damien days. Like, come on. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, again, the Grant Morrison Omnis aren't particularly thick.
And they could be thicker.
Yes. This would only add... it would add 200 pages but to the first one, but I think you could do it. Still cover everything that...
Yeah.
You basically, still end it where it's going to end. And it makes a nice... It makes a nice cutoff between volumes 1 and 2. It's a thing. It's slightly annoying.
But anyway, moving on. Bruce separates Raish and Damien. Raish's body is still
What's up? Of wisdom to Damien here. It's like, this is war. It's ugly and brutal. Forget any fairy tales your mother told you about entitlement. We're fighting for our lives. Understand.
Fucking Dini. I love it. Now, also, Dick, Tim, and the rest have arrived here, so it turns into this great big confrontation here between our ninjas, our monks, and Talia is here too, and Alfred's here as well. Alfred is fighting ninjas and monks as well. That's pretty great. Love that. Also, Raish has this great little moment actually with his father, who's now dying, I guess. Why did the Fountain of Life burn Sensei?
A wizard did it. That's the
Okay.
explanation. Wizard did it.
Yeah. Anyway, so Raish takes his dad's body.
Yeah. Again,
Now Dusan, I think, is implied to be Raish's real name here,
yes,
right?
Raish's real
Yeah.
name.
Which is just a cool little moment. I really like that, actually. But yeah, Raish takes his father's body, assuming Sensei's gone forever now. And
Yeah,
yeah, Raish stands at the center of all this, claims his ninjas back, and
Merlin just wants to get out of there.
yep, which presumably leads us to where Talia and Merlin are in the Black Glove and all that, or I guess post Black Glove. But yeah,
Talia knocks Damien out to take him away.
Yup, and Bruce and Raish go to sword fight briefly, very briefly actually. Yeah, because then through this, Merlin also tries to attack Dick. That doesn't go too well, and basically the whole thing ends in a standoff where Bruce kind of just has to leave Raish to still rule the League of Assassins with his new body, or I guess old body. It's an older body. And Bruce has to just take his family with him. He has to take Alfred, Dick, and Tim with him as now the monks that ruled over Nanda Parbat are taking it back and steal Raish, I guess. Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a very rushed ending.
Which is weird because this is a story that's had quite a bit of padding. You'd think they would get an ending.
Yeah. But anyway, we do actually end on this really nice moment then as the family leaves Nanda Parbat on I guess Talia's jet.
Yeah, this is they steal Talia's jet.
Yeah, they take Talia's jet. Why not? And yeah, they leave together. And also apparently it's Christmas, which is cool. I like that. I like that little touch. And incidentally, a Merry Christmas to you all at home. And
except not. And we toast to family, and it's a sweet ending.
It's a sweet ending.
God, this again.
It's like a lot.
Crossovers. This is kind of a mess in places.
I think it's a good time though.
It's a fun time, and it has things that are just fantastic. It's just like,
yeah.
Oddly enough, it's not the things that bring this down aren't the individual plot lines from the books creeping in. It's just the fact that this is really padded. Like they clearly wanted a 2-month crossover to end the year on, I'm guessing.
Probably.
Because, if this is Christmas, and basically this would be releasing weekly November, December.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how it ends, and it ends just way too quickly. And again, the big problem here are probably our other characters like I Ching, and let's be honest, Sensei. Like that's
yeah. He gets like that one good moment at the end, and that's about it. Yeah. But otherwise, it's an okay time. It's not worth reading.
No, it's great for a lot of the character developments and a lot of where the characters are.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think that about does it. So, brief dip into Batman comics. We also did kind of do a form of adapted material. Basically, a while back, way back at the start of the podcast, when we did Court of Owls, I was like, hey, this is a movie that kind of adapts Court of Owls. It's not great, but, it's a Damien-centric thing. And you were like, yeah, I won't watch it this time around. I was like, okay, well, we'll watch it eventually. And so we watched Batman. You watched Batman versus Robin.
And
it's not good.
It's actively not good. It has, Stuart Allen is probably the best thing about it.
Stuart Allen is always so good. He saves like every movie he's in. He's so good.
Yeah. Batman vs. Robin, it's a movie that doesn't seem to understand why the Court of Owls works as a story, and doesn't and likes to pull images from Snyder and Capullo's work, but because they're in such a radically different context, they don't work.
Yeah.
Also, not a whole lot of Batman versus Robin in a film.
Yeah, it's a weird way to advertise the book. or the movie. Wow, I can speak. I'm sick. I have an excuse.
Yes. Honestly,
Also, crazy ass cast. Weird Al Yankovic as Dollmaker is in
yeah.
it, which is just funny as hell. Also
Great
got a
Lyle is
great
in it.
Al, yeah, and it's got a great Kevin Conroy Thomas Wayne appearance.
Yes, that's nice. It's not the worst thing ever. It's just not particularly good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
and
shame though, because I think that universe had been on fire up to that point with Flashpoint Paradox, Justice League War, Son of Batman, and then they put out that, and it's just like, come on,
oh,
like
there's also they try to give the Talon a character, like a character arc and a face,
yeah,
and
in their sort of adaptation of Lincoln March.
except he's not Lincoln
He's not.
March.
No way. No way.
And the backstory, and they keep doing twist reveals with him taking off his mask.
I really think that Batman versus Robin was the first of those DC animated movies to really go at the whole like this weird philosophy that those films have, where it's just like, well, if we just adapt the story completely straight, there's nothing new for the comic readers to enjoy. They're gonna know everything going in. It's like, no, we'll still enjoy it. We'll still have a good time. Just
That
don't
isn't
change the fucking story.
that isn't to say, like, if you
You
were
can change.
adapting,
You can still change things.
you'd have to adapt Court of Owls. There are things you would
Yeah,
have to change, but and make it work for a new medium.
but also trying to make it both a Court of Owls adaptation and a sequel to Son of Batman it was your first mistake, and they just kind of kept going from there.
Honestly, you could have adapted Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah,
Uh,
it would have made a cool movie, especially
I'm,
because they literally opened Son of Batman with the death of Ra's al Ghul.
yeah. If you couldn't get Giancarlo Esposito back, you can recast if you need to. Because this would have been 2015, I think.
He could have come back. Yeah, he was not super busy at the time. But yeah, like, it's just like it's weird, it's annoying. And also they literally set up Nightwing and Son of Batman as well. The only character you're missing really is Tim. And that's
But
you could sort of work around it.
I feel like you could cut the Tim stuff.
Yeah, yeah. You'd be
Pretty
missing
easily.
some cool things, but also it might make it a tighter story.
It would definitely make it a story that works in 70, like 75, 80 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
that's in a universe that doesn't have Jason or Tim and hasn't established, the Connor Kent and all of that. Like, that's fine to cut. Like,
And it's weird then because that trilogy then ends with a movie that does Batman R.I.P.
okay, why?
Yeah,
Okay,
dude, I don't fucking get it, man.
because
But
and then they do.
anyway, yeah, well, yeah. Hush is separated from the original trilogy of Damien movies, so because it came out so much later. But
Yeah, and Damien's barely in it.
yeah. But anyway, fuck that movie and read Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. Jacob, I
Yeah.
think it's time to find out what we're doing next time.
Yeah, it is.
So what are we guessing? Give me your Pepe Sylvia.
I don't have one. Okay,
Oh, wow.
I don't
I'm
have.
almost disappointed.
I'm like, okay. I'm guessing maybe I have to get two. Do I have two guesses or just one guess? So I have two. I don't have anything specific.
Okay.
I think either we're continuing something, um, which I thought for a while could be Green Lantern, but I had also marked one of the future episodes as a double booker, and I don't think we'd be doing two single book Green Lanterns in a row. I think it might be more double books with that, so that kind of is out. But maybe continuing Wonder Woman by Perez or New Teen Titans, maybe. or starting something new, like maybe a Superman run or something. Because
You're
we just
being
did
very
Batman,
vague
so
this time. This is weird for you.
I've got nothing. Okay,
Okay, wow, I accept that. Would it help me if I narrow it down if it's a continuation or something new?
that might help.
Okay, I'll say it's something new.
Okay, you know what? Shot in the dark, because this is on my wish list. Batgirl by Simone.
Ooh, no,
Okay.
it is not. So
Okay.
you were actually you did throw out one thing that you're on the right track. We're going to start something new with Superman.
Okay.
Because I know you've been wanting a
Yes.
Superman run for a while, something for the podcast that isn't just one shots. Although still check out Fresh Face one
They're
shots because
they're great. Yeah. But
um
Superman. Okay.
and also if you recall when we finished off I think 2023, or was it when we did the tier list? Something I said a little something about like what you had to look forward to in some of our future episodes and future DC blocks and all that. One of the things I said was plenty of Grant Morrison in your future. So
Oh.
next time
Oh.
on Fresh Face Comics, we're gonna start Action Comics by Grant Morrison. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
well, I mean, I was right era, just wrong
yeah,
character.
you're on the right track.
Track.
Yeah,
Okay.
more Grant Morrison, even more. So we're gonna do the first two volumes throughout the next two episodes. That'll be Superman and the Men of Steel and Bulletproof. So yeah, we'll talk more about that in between things. But yeah, I'm very excited to start this because it's a
Yes.
weird as fuck run. It's really weird.
I mean, it's Grant Morrison.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm very excited to see. I think you already have the Omni for it, right?
I do. I do. We got
Cool.
it.
We have to talk about this also because we have to talk about how we're doing the backup stories because I know they're included in the Omni, but I don't know how they're split up. So I'm hoping there's a table of contents in that Omni. We're gonna find out.
We'll find out. I'll go once we're done recording. I can go check.
Yeah. But anyway, so be sure to join us for that next time. As always, I'll leave links in the description below. Amazon links to what we read on this episode and to our first Action Comics volume next time. I'm very excited to talk about. Otherwise, I'll leave socials in the description below. Promotions, Jacob. What do you have going on?
I have been writing stuff for my blog. I've been slowly reading the Thrawn trilogy of Star Wars novels. When this comes out, I've done the second installment of that trilogy, Dark Force Rising, and I have been reviewing Star Trek, the original series, as always, sort of keeping pace with Joey. We will have this week. We will have just done.
Is that let that be your last battlefield?
Yes, let that be your last
Let
battle.
that be your last battlefield.
Which
Frank Gorshin.
could be great, could be terrible. Who knows?
See.
When you're listening to this, that review should already be up, but I haven't watched it or written it yet, so I don't know.
Fair enough. But I guess on the side of other Blood Donut Studios things, we're also talking about Star Trek things, so that's cool. Hopefully, finally, the third episode of R2BD will be up very soon. So check that out in the coming week. There have been some delays. As I've also mentioned many a time, I'm very sick, so that kind of got in the way of a lot of motivation and ability to stay awake enough to edit things because I have been bedridden. So yeah. But it's coming out soon. Also, Fresh Face One Shot's coming out. I'm sure Breaking Brian is continuing at some point, and I think that's about it.
Yeah.
I think that's all I do. Yeah. Okay. That about does it. I think. Thank you all so much for listening. How do I end these?
Please, please leave a like or a rating.
Leave a rating wherever you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever. Blood Donut Studios, the YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. Leave a rating or like there. Comment if you like us.
Follow us on socials.
Follow us on socials. Those will be in the description below. There we go. That's it. So thank you all so much for listening. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan
and Jacob Licklider.
Goodbye.